Have you ever wondered what lurks in the shadows of the popular game VRChat? Well, beyond the colorful avatars and bustling digital cities, there's a side to this virtual world that often goes unnoticed. A side that's darker, grittier, and at times deeply unsettling. VRChat, for the uninitiated, is an online platform where users can interact with each other in a variety of virtual environments. On the surface, it's a place of limitless possibilities, a playground for imagination. But like any society, real or virtual, VRChat is not without its dark corners. One of the underbelly aspects we'll delve into is the issue of heavy drinking. Some users turn to this virtual world as a place to indulge in excessive drinking, using the anonymity of their avatars as a shield. It's a concerning trend that blurs the line between harmless fun and harmful addiction. Another disturbing trend in VRChat is the presence of pedophilia. Under the guise of cartoonish avatars, some individuals engage in inappropriate behavior, exploiting the game's lax regulation and oversight. It's a shocking reality that's often hidden from the average user's view. Erotic role-playing too has found a home in VRChat. While some may argue it's merely an expression of fantasy, others raise concerns about the impact of such explicit content on the game's younger users. It's a debate that's as complex as it is controversial. And then there's the overall atmosphere. Some users report a sense of melancholy pervading certain corners of VRChat, a feeling of isolation, despite being surrounded by others, a virtual world that for some mirrors the loneliness of their real lives. These are just some of the hidden realities of VRChat. They are the shadows cast by the vibrant lights of this virtual world, the stark contrasts that make up its complex landscape. Join us as we delve into the hidden realities of VRChat, revealed through the personal stories of users. We'll peel back the layers of this digital society, offering an unfiltered look at the game beyond the avatars and environments. Prepare to see VRChat in a new and perhaps surprising light. Is VRChat a harmless playground, or does it hide a den of vice beneath its surface? This is the question many are asking, and the answer isn't as straightforward as one might hope. On the surface, VRChat is an exciting platform, a virtual playground where users from all around the world can interact, play games, and socialize in a myriad of virtual environments. It's a place where creativity is encouraged, where friendships are formed, and where the barriers of reality are broken down. But as with many things that offer freedom and anonymity, there is a darker side, a side that's hidden in the shadows, away from the light-hearted banter and innocent games. Here in this digital landscape, behavior that would be unacceptable in the real world can flourish unchecked. Let's take a look at a story from a user who experienced this darker side. This user, who we'll call Alex for the sake of anonymity, was initially drawn to VRChat for the promise of fun and friendship. Alex saw it as a place to unwind after a long day, a place to meet new people and experience new things. But what was promised and what was delivered were two different things. Instead of the fun-filled escapade he expected, Alex was thrust into an environment where heavy drinking was not just normalized, but encouraged. He was exposed to explicit and erotic role-playing that felt uncomfortable and intrusive. He saw a side of the game that was depressing and disturbing, where the lines between fantasy and reality were blurred in the worst possible way. This is just one account, one experience out of the countless users who engage with VRChat. But it's a stark reminder that beneath the surface of this virtual playground, there can be a den of vice. It's a reminder that while VRChat can offer a unique and enjoyable experience, it can also harbor elements that are far from the harmless fun it promises. A game that promised fun and friendship delivered a much darker experience. This is the reality for some users in VRChat. As we delve deeper into this issue, we must ask ourselves, is this the cost of freedom in a virtual world? Is this the price we pay for anonymity and a lack of regulation? Let's explore further. What happens when the fun and games turn into a nightmare? This question, though chilling, is vital to understanding the reality for some users of VRChat. Today, we delve into the shadows of this virtual playground, uncovering stories that are often left untold. The first account comes from a user named Alex. Alex, like many others, was drawn to VRChat for its immersive social experience. However, his encounters soon took a disturbing turn. He found himself in a virtual bar where participants seemed to be engaging in heavy drinking sessions, their avatars swaying and slurring words, mimicking real-life intoxication. Alex witnessed people encouraging each other to drink more, to push their limits, creating an environment that normalized excessive alcohol consumption. It was a far cry from the innocent socialization he had anticipated. Next, we move to a story shared by a user we'll call Lisa. Lisa's tale is one of the most alarming. She stumbled into a room where adults were engaging in erotic role-playing. Initially, she thought it was harmless fun between consenting adults, but it soon became clear that some participants were not of age, their voices betraying their youth. This encounter highlighted the potential for VRChat to become a platform for pedophiles, a danger that is often overlooked in discussions about the game. Then there's the account of John, a seasoned gamer who ventured into VRChat only to find himself in a world that was far darker than he had imagined. John found rooms filled with users engaging in explicit role-playing scenarios, some of which were disturbingly violent. The line between fantasy and reality seemed to blur, the immersive nature of VRChat amplifying the intensity of these experiences. John left these rooms feeling disturbed, his perception of VRChat forever altered. Finally, we hear from Sarah. Sarah was driven into the shadows of VRChat due to the harassment she experienced. As a female user, she found herself the target of unwanted advances and explicit comments. The anonymity provided by the platform seemed to embolden some users, leading to a level of disrespect and objectification that Sarah found deeply unsettling. These stories are but a glimpse into the darker corners of VRChat. They serve as a stark reminder of the game's potential to foster harmful behaviors and experiences. The immersive nature of the platform, combined with the anonymity it provides, can create an environment where boundaries are pushed and norms are redefined. We must stress that these accounts do not represent the experiences of all users. Many people enjoy VRChat without ever encountering these issues. However, it is essential to acknowledge that these experiences exist. They represent a side of VRChat that is often ignored or downplayed, a side that is hidden in the shadows. These stories reveal a side of VRChat that is often swept under the rug. Let's shine a light on it for the sake of all users who call this virtual world their playground. What happens to users when they encounter the dark side of VRChat? That's a question many are asking as the darker aspects of this virtual world come to light. The effects are far from trivial, often leaving users with emotional and psychological scars that go well beyond the confines of the game. When we step into the world of VRChat, we anticipate an exciting escape from reality, a chance to explore new worlds, and the opportunity to interact with people from all corners of the globe. But what happens when that escape becomes a trap? When the world you've entered is fraught with danger, deception, and depravity? The psychological impact can be significant. Users who have had negative experiences report feelings of depression, anxiety, and fear. It's not just about the immediate aftermath either. These feelings can linger, affecting users' overall mental health and well-being. Imagine, for instance, being a young, impressionable user stepping into VRChat for the first time. You're excited, eager to explore this new world, but instead of finding a safe, welcoming space, you encounter disturbing scenarios, explicit role-playing, and predatory behavior. This can be a deeply traumatic experience, leading to feelings of fear and anxiety that extend beyond the game. But it's not just the young and impressionable who are affected. Even seasoned gamers can find themselves shaken by the darker aspects of VRChat. They may start to feel unsafe, anxious, or depressed, their trust in the online community shattered. And then there's the issue of heavy drinking. Alcohol use is often glamorized in VRChat, with virtual bars and drinking games being common features. This can lead to real-world problems, with users potentially developing unhealthy drinking habits as a result. The emotional impact can be just as significant. Users may feel a deep sense of betrayal, having entered VRChat with the expectation of a fun, friendly environment, only to find a world that's anything but. They may feel violated, their trust in the online community irreparably damaged. They may also feel isolated. After all, it's not easy to talk about these experiences. Many users may not know where to turn for support or may fear being judged or dismissed if they do speak up. This sense of isolation can exacerbate feelings of depression and anxiety, creating a vicious cycle that's hard to break. The impact extends to users' real-world relationships as well. Friends and family may struggle to understand what their loved ones are going through, leading to feelings of frustration and helplessness. This can strain relationships, adding another layer of stress for the affected users. So, what can we do about it? How can we protect users from the dark side of VR chat? That's a complex question and one we'll explore in the next scene. But one thing is clear. The dark side of VR chat is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. The dark side of VR chat can leave lasting scars on its users. Let's not forget that as we continue to navigate this virtual world. So who is responsible for addressing these issues in VR chat? To answer this question, we need to look at three groups: the game developers, the moderators, and the wider gaming community. Each has a role to play in ensuring that VR chat remains a fun and safe environment for all. Let's start with the game developers. They are the architects of this virtual world. Their responsibilities go beyond creating an immersive experience. They also need to build in safeguards to protect users from the darker elements of the platform. This could be in the form of stricter age restrictions or more robust reporting mechanisms, but it doesn't stop there. Developers should also consider implementing more effective content filters to limit the exposure to explicit material. Also, they could design more user-friendly interfaces to make it easier for users to block or report inappropriate behavior. Next, we have the moderators. They are the custodians of the virtual environment. It's their job to enforce the rules and keep the peace. They should be vigilant and proactive, stepping in when they detect harmful behavior. Training and support for these digital peacekeepers are crucial. They need to be equipped with the right tools and knowledge to handle complex and sensitive issues. Last but not least, there's the wider gaming community. All of us who log on and strap on those VR headsets, it's easy to dismiss bad behavior as just part of the game. But it's important to remember that behind every avatar is a real person. We need to be more than just bystanders. If you see something, say something. Report it. Stand up against those who use the platform as a mask for their misdeeds. And let's not forget about fostering a positive gaming culture. Encourage respect and empathy. After all, we're all here to have fun, to explore and interact in this new frontier of gaming. So to wrap up, combating the dark side of VR chat is a shared responsibility. It's up to all of us, from the developers to the players, to ensure that VR chat remains a safe and enjoyable space for everyone. So what have we learned about the dark side of VR chat? We've taken a deep dive into the underbelly of a virtual reality platform that on its surface appears to be a harmless and fun-filled playground. But as we've discovered, VR chat hides a more sinister reality beneath its vibrant facade. We heard stories from the shadows, tales of users who've experienced the darker aspects of this platform. We learned about the heavy drinking, the pedophilia, the erotic role-playing, and the depressive experiences that some users have faced. These are not isolated incidents, but rather a pervasive and often overlooked part of the VR chat experience. We discussed the impact of these experiences on the users. We learned that the virtual world can have very real consequences. The immersion offered by virtual reality can sometimes blur the lines between the digital and the physical, leading to harmful effects on the mental and emotional well-being of users. We've also highlighted the role of the gaming community in addressing these issues. It is not enough to simply acknowledge these problems. Action is necessary. The gaming community, from developers to players, bear a collective responsibility to ensure the safety and well-being of its members. But we cannot overlook the platform's potential for good. VR chat, like any online platform, has the capacity to foster positive interactions and experiences. It can be a space for creativity, collaboration, and community building. However, this potential can only be fully realized if we actively address the dark side of VR chat. We need to hold developers accountable for creating and maintaining safe spaces for users. This means implementing stricter regulations, improving reporting mechanisms, and enforcing penalties for those who violate community guidelines. But the responsibility doesn't end with the developers. Users too have a role to play. We need to foster a culture of respect and empathy within the gaming community. We need to stand up against harmful behaviors and support those who are affected by them. We must remember that behind every avatar is a real person with real feelings and real experiences. We must strive to ensure that these experiences are positive and safe, not just for a few, but for all users. In conclusion, the dark side of VR chat is a complex issue that requires collective action. It is a challenge that we must face head-on, not just for the sake of the platform's current users, but also for those who will join in the future. We have the power to shape the future of virtual reality. Let's use this power responsibly to create a virtual world that is safe, inclusive, and respectful. A world that fosters positive interactions and experiences rather than negative ones. VR chat, like any online platform, has its dark corners. It's our responsibility to shed light on them and work together to create a safer virtual world.